everyone, and welcome to a special bonus episode of Too Stupid to Live, a podcast about romance novels usually $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and this episode is part 2 of TSTL's hookup with the Under the Covers book blog for its Ripped and Ravished book club, which takes a deep dive into vintage bodice ripper romances and explores how they shaped the modern romance genre as we know it. And today, Francesca and I are thrusting ourselves into chapters 3 and 4 of The Flame and the Flower by Kathleen E. Woodiwiss, which was originally published in 1972. So, just to play catch up on the first 2 chapters, we are in England. It is 1799, and our main character, Heather, is like this young, innocent English woman. She finds herself pregnant with the child of a U.S. ship captain, Brandon Birmingham. Now, in these next 2 chapters of The Flame and the Flower, Heather officially marries Captain Birmingham in England, and then she realizes that she has to relocate to Birmingham's home in North Carolina. It's going to be a long, arduous journey across the Atlantic, and let's not forget that Heather is pregnant. I don't know what it's like to be seasick across the Atlantic, and I don't know what it's like to be pregnant, and I don't know what it's like to feel any of those things at the end of the 18th century, but I doubt it was a particularly horny experience. That said, I love chatting books with Francesca, and this episode has a great discussion on romance tropes, archetypes, character redemption. And content warning, we do discuss how trauma is depicted in this book. So if that's a topic that you're just not feeling today, don't worry. TSTL has a great backlog of episodes that can satisfy whatever romantic cravings you may have. So let's embark. Please enjoy this discussion about chapters 3 and 4 of The Flame and the Flower.
Tabbed more things in this section than in the other one, only because, so here's the thing, I feel like there were parts of these 2 chapters where I don't know if the author is obviously trying to redeem him, but so, and tell me if you also saw this or if I'm just being crazy. There was a moment at the end of the wedding where he makes a comment to the aunt at the very bottom of page 113 where the aunt says, "Crazy Yankee."
Yeah.
And then he basically says, "From you, madam, that is truly a compliment." And then farther down he says, "As you are aware, madam, what I say is true. I do take care of my own and their debts." And for me, that just made me think that he knows.
Yes.
What the aunt has done and what she was going through and all of these things. And I feel like there's these morsels of maybe he cares and he cared to get her out of that situation, which does not justify
Right.
what he did. But I feel like I do see those little pieces where we are trying to make him seem like a caring individual.
Wow. Because it's so funny. I still don't see. I think I'm going to have to disagree with you there. There were times where I was writing down, this is worse. This is still bad. He's not better.
I still think he's worse.
Oh,
yeah, no.
Okay, good,
I
good.
do think
Yeah.
so. I'm just saying I think that the author was trying to say, these are the reasons why he's going to get better.
Right.
Which, I mean, to me, it didn't work because he was still horrible. He was so terrible when he takes her shopping to the lady at the clothing shop or whatever, and he brings her there while he's been shopping there for all of his women, and that whole scene there was so bizarre.
And she was weird too, because she was just like,
Yes.
"Oh, another what?"
Yes.
You're everyone's terrible in this book. There's no good side characters so far.
And then at some
Everyone's
point
terrible.
she also said something something like it should have been me or something like that. And I'm like, you are too pure and too innocent, and men are gonna want you, and he now has to be this protector. And I'm like, lady, no, what are you doing?
Yeah. I thought that like in terms of like an attempt at redemption for me was like kind of the more violent parts, which I did not like, but he was like again, there's a chapter where people sneak into their room at the inn, and he is so violent with them, and it's like, is this him? Is this a way for our romantic hero? Like, is this a depiction of him defending her honor? And then at the dress shop, when the guy comes in and is like, I was about to say, he's trying to get her number, but whatever they did, whatever they called number back in 1799. And then he's so violent with him, and he like pushes him out. And again, I'm like, is this an attempt to make us like him? Because like I'm kind of scared. I'm still scared.
I am very scared, but I do think that, although, because I noticed those moments too, I feel like that to me was the author making the attempt, like to say, okay, he has some redeeming qualities. We will start showing these redeeming qualities, which for me did not work.
No.
But I could see that I think that's what the author was trying to do, is like trying to paint him in this picture. And also, something I will say that I like that the author did is there was more of a conversation about rape. Not necessarily like was it right at the wedding night? I don't remember if it was that scene or if it was after, like when they're at the inn or something. I think it might have been the wedding night. And she is terrified. And I think, it was the wedding night, where she's saying, I guess now I'm his wife, so I have to willingly do these things now, and that will be better for me, which, horrible. But at the same time, then, like, he comes in and, like, they actually have a conversation about the fact, like, oh, you're more willing now. But then the heroine Heather actually discusses rape. Like, well, what do you want me to do? Be unwilling every time, and I'm going to continuously get like violently raped? I'd rather be softly raped, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But I did like that discussion happened, because it does show us that our heroine understands fully what is happening to her, what's right or wrong. Like she's not some innocent flower, basically.
Totally. Like she says the exact line, which I thought was very wise for a person who's only been an adult for a day. She's like, what did she say? She says, marriage has nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
And I think that actually was in later on when they were at like the pub or something, but she says marriage has nothing to do with love. And I'm like, that is something that
it's
like,
something for profit or
yeah.
or something. Yeah. I think I tabbed that one too.
And I was like,
wow.
she's a quick learner.
She is.
And, but like understands it. But the thing is that I thought that marriage night he was re-traumatizing her a little bit.
Yes.
And saying that, like, basically that, like, I won't, force myself upon you, but you're stuck with me. Yeah. And that was, like, sickening. He was, like sickening to me in a bad way, not in, like, a cool way.
Yes, I totally get that, too. And again, I'm going to keep harping on the fact that the author's trying to soften it, is because, like, she says that he was so, what was the word he used? Like, he really did not like being forced into the marriage. And because of, like, how the Lord Hampton had gone about it, it was almost like, I'm going to take it out on you because I am in this situation because I was forced to be here, when you could have, he said, like, you could have just come to me, and I might have married you. Yeah, okay, sure. But I feel like she tries to put those things in, almost like he's doing this horrible thing, but I want you to think like there's a reason for him doing that, to like soften the blow, which, again, it doesn't work. I don't think that it softened any of the blow for me, but I did notice the author doing that in all of those scenes.
Sure, yeah, because there was an attempt to be like, like, this is a 1-for-1. You were forced to do something that you didn't do, and now I'm forced to do something that I didn't do. We're basically the same, and it's like, well, okay,
no. Not really.
And also, can we talk about the Hamptons? Or
yes,
they're like So basically they come in, basically their backstory is that like they were friends with her father and they cared so much for her, and when her father died there was a question of whether she would stay with them. She didn't. She went and stayed with her terrible aunt, and they kind of come in after they discover the pregnancy, and they're like, don't worry, we're here for you, we're gonna help you. And I'm like, where were you when her father died? You know what I mean? Like, you're not
Yeah.
great people. Like, I hope the
No.
author isn't thinking like, oh, she has a savior, these two people, because they're terrible too.
They're
Everyone's
terrible.
terrible. Everyone's
They're
terrible.
they're so terrible.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like he's saying, I'm gonna save you by forcing this man that just raped you
Yeah.
to marry you. Like almost I would have said that when he offered her to be the mistress, I almost would have said that would have been better. She doesn't have to see him ever again. Hello?
Yeah.
Like sure,
Yeah.
reputation, whatever, but I would rather that than marrying her off to someone that you know is probably violent, that raped her, that like wild. So then the wedding happens. And again, they're going through this whole thing. We're here for you. Anything that happens, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, after, like, okay, next day, they're washing their hands off her. Like, here, we are done. Let's just have some food. We're going to take you over there to the docks. And no, we don't need to see you again.
And send you off. Yeah.
He's a little mad, and you'll go over there and you'll be raising your kid and you'll be all right. You'll forget all about us. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole scene was wild to me,
Disgusting.
especially like the past however many pages, from chapter 1 where Lord Hampton is trying to like say I'm gonna do right by her and force him to marry. That whole time they're supposed to be portrayed as like the savior is coming. Meanwhile, they're doing this horror, like they're just pointing her off, like let's just solve the problem in the way that affects us the least in society, especially because she would be shipped off to the Americas, so we don't have to have anybody talking about us anymore, which I think
Totally.
is probably what they wanted.
Yeah, yeah, and like this, like at the time, and in at the time that this book was written, like this, it would be like, oh, what a valiant effort. You know what I mean? And but looking at it now, I'm like, there's nothing is done out of love. There is no
No.
love. There's nothing
No.
romantic up in this book so far.
We still did not
No
get to the
romance.
romance.
There's no. This is still not a romance.
We are still not at the romance stage here. I am a little concerned because we
And-
are now quite a bit into this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're about like what 150 pages in.
Yeah.
And also like what I thought again, like equally kind of viscerally disgusting to me was when he kisses her at the wedding, and even
Yes.
though it was a kiss and not like whatever assault, like it like. Well, it is assault. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Yeah.
My point is that it re-traumatized her over what happened, and that was really difficult to read after
Yeah.
knowing what happened. And I'm and so I kept writing down, "Oh my God, this is worse. This is worse." Like in just all caps. This is so much worse. This is so much worse.
It is that, especially like they're okay, you may kiss the bride, and he kisses her, and like everybody has to like basically feel uncomfortable about what he was doing for him to stop.
Yeah, yeah, because he's like, it wasn't even like a chaste kiss, like
No.
it was like
No.
even if like two people were doing that who were very much in love at their wedding, like there's like it was lingering, it was long,
It
there was
would
tongue, there's
still
a
be a
priest
little
there.
like, okay, the priest would be like,
Yeah,
later.
get a room. Yeah.
You'll get to that later.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That was also traumatizing. So many scenes. I feel like also you get to experience more of like the aftermath of the trauma. Like she is so jumpy and so, the PTSD is there a lot, which you do get to see that. And in a way, I appreciated that because it's not brushing it off as if it didn't have any impact on her. So I did appreciate that we get to see that as opposed to her just being, okay, I'm just gonna, power
Yeah,
through and now I am married and hopefully it'll be a good life. She's still traumatized. Like, you can
Totally.
tell.
Yeah, like she's definitely like written as a fully fledged like human being having very
Yeah,
human responses to this terrible situation she's
yeah,
in versus like yeah, in something else like again she could just look like a not be written very genuinely and like not look
yeah.
real and not feel real and we won't be able to empathize with her when she's like, oh, okay, I'm fine now, things are okay, like on
Mm,
paper I'm married so we're good, bye, and it's like,
yeah.
well, now you're just dumb. Like not dumb but like just naive.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is good because in a way it's really not romanticizing what happened to her. So even though we are not reading a romance, I feel like that's what makes sense for the story because yeah, I mean what we read was not happy go lucky. So now again, I am still team. I don't know how he's coming back from this to be a redeemable hero that I could tolerate. However, I do think that we are getting to a point where hopefully, and maybe there's going to be a time jump. I don't know. Because the other thing I was thinking is how long would it take at that time to do that trip to the Americas? Because, I mean, it would take a long time, and she's pregnant. And it had
Months,
already been
yeah.
a little bit of time already. So it's like, is she, she going to make it? Like, I am stressed.
Yes. Yeah, like I like the idea of going on a boat now sounds horrible after having like eggs for breakfast, let alone being pregnant and going on a 19 or 1700s boat. Jesus Christ.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, yeah. Like, oh, what was I gonna say? Well, it's interesting because like we were talking about how like a lot of tropes were developed in this book, and now I feel like it's kind of interesting because we're coming to the marriage of convenience trope, of like, okay, these two have to be married because like basically like um the Birmingham, what's the captain? He's at his life is at stake too. Like Hampton, he feels like Hampton threatened him,
Yeah.
and also, of course, Heather's life is at stake in terms of like being ruined or and whatever. So now it's like the best thing, yeah, the best thing that they can do for each other is be married. They are do this is a marriage of survival, if you will.
Yeah, basically.
And so it is interesting to kind of see like, okay, like there's nothing they can do but work together.
Yeah.
And also they hate, but they now they also resent each other. So then we have our kind of enemies to lovers kind of thing because they just are both so rightfully so, her more than him,
Yeah.
resentful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also I was thinking about it in terms of like that marriage of convenience, but also, you know, how in a lot of historical romances that we read today, there's the, oh, well, they were caught in a compromising situation, so now they have to get married. And you know what I never felt reading
Yeah.
any of those books? I never felt like there was actual danger to the heroine. Like, you know, when we were talking about Lord Hampton before, I never felt reading those historical romances where the family was just pointing her off on this horrible person, even though you know, maybe it was a rake and all of these things, but they were never putting her in harm's way. And here, that like that's the part that I'm having a hard time with is that even her family, which obviously, I mean, her family failed her from day one, but it has the trope, but at the same time, it's a very different development and presentation of that trope. And I do see how, you know, it's been modernized and how it's changed now to make it more palatable. But in a way, that's kind of like the same thing as what we read now in historical romances.
Right, yeah. But it's like it's kind of interesting because it's like, okay, is it more palatable or is it like because like when I think of like a current marriage of convenience, there are side characters and everything they're doing is out of love. Like it's difficult for like a parent to love their child when they're watching their child be married off to someone that they don't know, and you kind of see the characters grapple with it and in a modern day romance, and so it does kind of like feels very real and genuine. It's kind of like exploring, guilt and love and all these things versus this where like it feels like, they're wiping their hands clean and
Yeah.
we don't see them feel like any sort of remorse or guilt. And you could say that it was the times, like you absolutely could say that. And this is just two people reacting to how they were, kind of like brought up, but it kind of like diminishes like kind of the sanctity of human emotion. You know, I think despite rules and regulations, I'm imagining people still felt guilt, people still felt love, people still felt like marriage was, you know, like kind of a death sentence and things like that. And it's just like, oh, I wish I just saw like an inch, even if it was just like a one sentence of the Hamptons being like frowning or something, you know what I mean? Then it was like, yeah, I get it. You know, that now I kind of see the humanity in it all. About that, but now they're just like caricatures of just like they were like secretaries for her life, you know, like just like they're like, I don't know, she was like at the DMV and she was just filling out a form and they're like, next, let's find the next sad woman to help, you know.
Whoever doesn't like ruin our reputation in society, and if this is going to look a little like a bad stain, let me just wipe it. That's
Right,
basically what they
exactly.
did.
Yeah.
Also, something I found interesting is the fact that we are bringing back Henry. Which, I mean, I kind of thought that we were done with Henry, so
Me
it makes
too.
me question why we had to have that scene, and if we were going to see him later on in the book. So,
Yeah, because
because
like
otherwise
then
it doesn't make sense to like that chapter was already closed. You know what I mean?
totally. Like I thought, because like what she does, you know, to like get rid of Henry, which is what we see in a lot of romances to kind of push our character away for one final time, is the insult. You know, like our characters are trying to like our protagonist thinks, I this person cannot be with me. I will ruin their life. What is it going to take for me to get them away from me? And they do the harshest thing they can do, which is insults that person, and that's usually the final straw. And then then we have our protagonist dealing with the guilt of like the horrible things that they said just to push this character away. So I was surprised to see Henry because I'm like, oh, he's not pushed away. He took her insults and changed, you know, and is like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then I was like, okay, well, this is introducing another trope, the love triangle, if you will. But it made me very uncomfortable because like, yeah, I mean that's just like it's an insane thing to have happened of just like I did everything you asked and that but you didn't ask, but that you kind of made it seem like you were asking for and I
So
was like
now you should be ready to marry me.
exactly. Yeah. And of course like again like you see kind of Birmingham getting very not he wasn't like physical was he physically violent? It was like I mean
No,
he was like
he
a
wasn't as physically violent at that scene. He just covered her and like
yeah.
pulled her away, I think.
Yeah, so there was like aggression there that I think made me like his personality, like
He was
Birmingham's
marking his territory for sure. I mean, he was
exactly,
pissing everywhere.
exactly, and I think sometimes
Mine.
like yeah, like showing that sort of aggression can be scarier than like punching someone, you know, sometimes because it's like you're kind of left with, wait, what are you gonna do if I take your
Yeah.
territory? Versus like, oh, when he punches the guy, you know, it's like, okay, we see the height of what he can do. It's just the punch, don't worry. You know, I mean it's all terrible. But it's just the not knowing adds to the fear of
Yeah.
like this guy, who is this guy? Like he made me very I was like, is his mental health okay? He clearly has like anger issues and
Clearly
yeah,
not.
yeah. No,
Clearly
he's not
not.
okay.
There's that. There definitely needs to be some anger management because he is not okay. Also, they're going back to North Carolina because he owns a plantation.
I know.
Like,
It's so wild.
oh
Yeah.
God.
And that is and like the term plantation comes with its own, you know, thing. And you know, I was cuz like I on the synopsis in the back of the book, you know, it says like he takes her to his plantation where he explores her womanhood. Like, and it's just like everything about that sentence is so gross. And at the time it wasn't supposed oh God, I don't know. It's just so gross. It's so icky.
Very icky. Very
Yeah.
icky. Like the whole thing was icky, and then he's talking about it, and then she was even questioning, where am I going to be? Like, once I get there, what's going to happen to me? Am I even going to live in the house? Like, what's going to be my role? And I actually appreciated her having those fears and talking through those fears, and we're seeing all of that. So, again, favorite character in this whole story, Heather, because she is a fully formed, fully fledged normal person with the normal feelings for everything that's happening. And at the same time, I do think that the author is trying to paint him in a way as that savior, kind of like Stockholm syndrome in a way, because oh well, she's gonna fall for him because he is her savior and protector. Like when you said the two guys that broke into the room, but even before that, when she was scared that he wasn't gonna come back to the room, and then when he comes and like she breaks down and she's crying because he is back. So we are starting to see, I think, a little bit of that codependency because she has nothing, she has nobody, and at this moment he is all she has.
Right.
So I think we are starting to see a little bit of that, which, I mean, it's not healthy, but
like there's a level of her,
like a lot of the things in this book.
right. I mean, there's a level of her, like I from what I've heard about this book and where I imagine it's going and what every other romance has done since then is showing she's empowered by being able to tame him. You know, she was scared he wasn't going to come back. Something about her made him come back. And that is kind of just like the initial like ounce of empowerment she has, you know. It's like, okay, it's starting to build. But I just feel like he's still such an animal.
Yeah, we just started from such a low extreme.
Yeah.
Like to redeem him from that, it's a lot. Also, I do think that, you know how like we see these tropes now of the hero that is like horrible to everybody but her. Like I don't remember what you call that trope, but that is a trope of the guy being like so terrible. So in a way, that is another trope we have here. Because
totally.
yes, he is terrible even to her, but then I'm assuming he's gonna stop being so terrible to her at some point, so that we're gonna have that like, oh well, he can be this terrible individual, but she makes him better, or he's good with her, or whatever, which we do see a lot in modern romance to date.
Totally. There is the trope of I will burn the world for you. And I think that's like a very sexy kind of thing. I recently have been on a kick of reading a lot of like demon romances where like someone is falling in love with like a literal death demon who is literally murdering people, and she's like, I love, for, you know, like I just read one where it was like she was with like it was like a Grim Reaper romance, and she wanted revenge against these people who did like horrible things. The murders are so brutal, like, and it like that was dark, like,
but it's so satisfying. But it was like horrible things to her.
Exactly, it was so satisfying to see her like get her revenge, and then like right after they're like having sex, and I'm like, this is so gross and weird, and I love it. So like, I do see that, but I guess because like, there's something about him that he's so enigmatic in a way that's so scary that I'm not like, okay, you are doing scary things. Like he literally is forcing people to go out of the window and injure themselves. That is so sadistic. Yeah. And like, is scary to me versus like a demon who is a Grim Reaper where it's like, well, we know what's on the resume. He does what he does. Yeah.
But he's doing it he never actually does it to the heroine, and he's actually just doing it to the people that like deserve it. I guess
right.
That is also there's something that I highlighted on page 92.
Okay.
Which is, and this made me think our conversation we were having about dark romance the other day, and how like this kind of like feels like that. And so Heather thinks about, you know, what Birmingham is, and she says, well, she doesn't say, she thinks it. He was Satan to her. Handsome, ruthless, evil. He could draw her soul from her body and never feel remorse. And when I read that, it brought me back to the dark romance conversations, just because that is literally the same things that we would say about those heroes. And it was funny to see, funny to see that in this context of like this horrible person, because I almost feel like that didn't go far enough to what he's done. To me, that is how I would describe the normal, morally gray, dark romance heroes or the
Right.
demons or all of the things. And it almost felt like it was such a soft way to describe him, even though she's
Yes.
saying he was Satan to her, but it almost didn't feel dark enough.
No, it definitely didn't. It felt like the way she was like, you know when like you are on a date with someone and they're kind of mean to the server and you're like, who am I on a date with? Like that it was that feeling. You know what I mean? Of like it was like, oh, you're kind of like rude. And do you know what I mean?
Like
That's what she was
you
feeling.
will probably go and murder that server behind the restaurant in the alley. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I don't trust you. Um, but it is, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
And then on the other hand, when she was getting sick, when they first, are sailing off, and he notices that she's getting ready to get sick, and he helps her to
What a
vomit
gent.
over the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Total
It's
gent.
like so nice.
Yeah.
And then right after it's like go to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know where it is.
Yeah.
Wear something nice for me. Ah.
And I think that's another thing of the clothing of it all. I understand there is like I understand like it is I guess pretty sexy when you are consenting to you are consenting to your power for a certain circumstance, whether it's clothing or being tied up or whatever, to another person and it's agreed upon. But he was really obsessed with what she was wearing to the point where he spends all day with her in the modiste or whatever, choosing her outfits, choosing the fabric, all this stuff. And it, to me, like read as like, this is an obsessive stalker. Like, this is like weird, you know?
Yeah.
And I know back then I'm curious if people are thinking like, oh, it just shows how much he cares. He wants her to have the best fabric and da 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 da. And I'm like, he is controlling what she wears. This is abusive. Like I'm
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to the point that even when she was looking through the drawings and stuff, and she wanted to look at other things more simple, less costly or whatever, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna make the decisions here," and blah 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 blah. But even before that, when she was wearing the clothes that he had actually gotten for her in a different context, because he had gone to shop while she made her escape.
Right.
So these were more risque outfits. And then she had to wear that to go to the inn. And of course, that attracted a certain attention that he didn't want,
Of
which was
course.
also
Yeah.
something he chose. But, he was thinking, like, I'll have her locked up and nobody's going to see her. But now nobody can see that but me. So he immediately, after seeing that happened, he immediately said, okay, we got to go get you different clothes because no, definitely a lot of control issues.
Yeah. Like, and
So
also,
many.
and all the men have, like, clearly,
Right.
like, everyone, like, she is in a
I mean, to be
wild
fair, that
forest.
happens to this day. I had an
True. Yeah.
experience of somebody. There was this person that said to me that she always has to ask her husband what to wear, and the reason why she said that is because she says, "Well, I can't look at myself, so he has to tell me how I look," and I just had to turn around and walk away because I don't know what to get a mirror. You can look at yourself if, so yeah, so that still happens today. So we don't have to go that far to
No.
to apply those same things here. But
Yeah, I mean, of course, like I do think that like the way we rely on the people in our life can look like it mimics maybe something that's like passe. Like I still like don't know how to fix this and require my brother to help me fix it and I feel like an idiot girl because like whatever. But with this though, oh, where was I going with this? Uh it's still very like he doesn't let her choose to let him do this for her. And I think that's the issue. And I know I know it's like kind of like it's like semantics in this case of just like you want to wash the dishes. Like I get that. But like I think in this case it's necessary. Like we want to see that she has her own agency.
Yeah. Yeah. Because right now she has none.
Yeah.
Zero whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's basically going off to a strange land where she's going to be away from anything she's ever known. Like, it's just such a difficult position, and I feel like even if he realized just that much, that he could make her feel a little safer in that even within that context, to give her a little bit of agency to make some choices about what's happening to her. But no, we still don't have that.
Yeah, like I feel like it's like, did empathy not exist then? Like, I don't know. Empathy
Well, he
didn't exist
certainly
then.
didn't have any.
No.
That's for sure. And then, of course, the passing thought of the fiance, because at some point he says, "Well, I don't know what I'm gonna tell. What am I supposed to tell her? That I saw you and I fell madly in love and like I had to marry you," which was such a crappy thing to say to her too.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, look what you did to me. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Like, and
You're
like,
the one that raped me. You could have stopped.
exactly. Yeah. Or you could just
Nobody
like,
was putting a gun to your head, and you knew that she was a virgin because, like, you realized that. So, hello?
yeah. And he also was hiring prostitutes many times before. This is a lecherous man. He is a leech. He has always been terrible, and all he wants to do is just blame other people for his mistakes. And the thing is, men were allowed to do that then.
This is
you
true.
know?
That was the way of the world. That was the way of the world. I will say, I feel like this is turning into a bashing Birmingham.
I still don't like him
But
yet.
I don't think I will. Because
think
how
so
do you
either.
come back from that? I don't think that it's in my capacity to come back from that. I hope for Heather's sake that it gets a little more tolerable, but I don't know. And then like at some point he says something like he likes babies. So like he's happy to like, you know, that she's gonna have a child because he likes babies. And I'm like, you're the farthest thing from what I would say needs to be around.
Yeah,
A child.
yeah. I would never let you around. Honestly, I feel like this guy, he just wants a doll and a pet. You know what I mean? You don't want a wife. You want to play with Barbies and you want a dog. Like, this does not mean you're a good husband. Something else that like really, really grossed me out. And like I think a lot about is she's returning to the boat, and she's very embarrassed by seeing like the boat's crew who had seen her before, and now she's back. She's wedded to him. She is like, they're gonna think I'm like this prostitute, da 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 da. And he goes, "Oh, don't worry. My like servant or whatever saw the blood on the sheets."
George.
George saw the blood on the sheet, so
Yeah.
don't worry, he knows that you were a virgin. And I was like, this is so fucking disgusting. Like, everything about this is so disgusting. I hate this. Like that to me. Like,
That was terrible. I
was
did notice
awful.
that. And then also, like, I think there was a moment there too where George was pleased that she was a virgin. And then she turns around and asks Birmingham, "Well, were you pleased?" Like, you know, like kind of like accusing also. "Were you
Yeah.
pleased?" And he's like, "Well, I told you. Yeah, of course."
yeah. And I'm just like,
Like that whole thing, like, why
why
it
are
was
we
so
talking about
icky.
It was so icky. Yeah, like I'm like, get out of her body. Get like I literally was like, why is everyone talking about this woman's body? And I mean, I've always felt this way. Like whenever I read anything historical or like watch like anything that has to like bring up a woman's virginity, I find it so repulsive and disgusting. And the fact that like wars were fought over whether or not a woman was a virgin. Like, I'm just like, get everyone out of her body. Get out of there. This is none of your business. Leave her alone. Everyone stop talking about it. You have more people talking about a woman's body than the woman herself. That's a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Even like the whole crew had to talk about whether she was a virgin because like they're having a discussion about the sheets.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sickening.
What?
Yes. Ugh. It was like
That
it's
was
so
wild.
it's so infuriating to me, and like, and I think maybe that's what I'm feeling with this book is just like it it's really hard to see how I do like her and I like that we like her, but it is hard to just like see how powerless she is, and there's nothing, she can't change the times. Like she can't make it 2026, obviously. But yeah, and so it's like sometimes like when I like listen to other people talk about like being like annoyed on behalf of the protagonist like this, it's like, okay, I think I get what they're saying of like just being in this situation where it's like, oh God, it's just deeper. It just gets deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper.
And I mean, as much as sometimes in modern books we get annoyed with the heroines for not doing the things, here, like you said, she's powerless. Like
She
she
can't.
just has to do and adjust and hope that it gets better. Like she has no other choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why like I need something good to happen to her. It still hasn't. I was hoping that these 2 chapters were going to be a little ray of sunshine, even if it was small. But no, it did. I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because yeah, they just got married. He was just forced to get married, which I thought that was also like really fast how we went to them saying, okay, we're going to force him to come downstairs for the wedding, you know,
Right,
like there was
yeah.
almost no transition in terms of like how the author set that up. It was really abrupt from one to the other. And yeah, I think in terms of like writing and stuff, that's probably the only thing that I noticed. The writing does keep me very engaged.
Me
Which
too. Yeah.
it's fascinating because I'm like, even reading some of these horrible things, I need to know more. I need to know what happens in this situation. And as much as like I don't like 99.9% of the characters, I still enjoy reading. Like my
Yes.
reading experience. Let's put it that way. As much as I don't like the characters, that doesn't mean I am not enjoying the reading experience of it. And for something as much as we already have read things that came after and that use kind of like, let's say, the same formula, it is probably a true testament to how powerful of a book it was at the time, because it is still able to do that, even with how we're feeling about some of the things that are happening in the storyline. And we are still like hanging on to every moment and wanting to see what happens next. Speaking on what happens next, also, I have no idea what's going to happen next. You know how like sometimes you're like, well, I think I kind of have this, like where it's going, figure out. No clue. Zero.
Yeah.
I am just strapping in for the ride.
Exactly, because like we're still like, I think like after the first 2 chapters, I think both of us were like, okay, a transition is going to happen. Now we're here 2 chapters later, a transition has not happened. If anything, things have transitioned for the worse, and we are even more stressed. What is going on? And so like I think like, you know, one of the reasons why myself and maybe other people love romance is just like the realization, like the turnaround of when like they finally realize that they at least love each other or at least respect each other, and we're like, when is this turnaround going to be? Because usually like in some books it's at 20% in, and this one we're reading a book that was published in 1972 and there's no like Kindle percentage rate on it. And so with this guy who like, again, it is so scary. We don't know what he's going to do next when he's angry. Like, what is he going to do next when he's happy? Like, I'm scared for that too, you know?
And when
like
he's like in his own like safety, like in the sense that once they get to his home, that is where he feels the most powerful, because even as whatever he feels that he can do, but he is in another country where, yeah, something can happen and he can be put in jail. But once he comes back home and he's a plantation owner, he knows that he can do anything he wants. So like that's even more scary, you know, just
and
from
the fact that
knowing
I'm assuming
his
he
status.
owns, like I'm assuming he
Yeah.
owns people. I'm assuming that like,
Yeah.
which I'm scared to read as well.
Yeah.
Which I thought Outlander actually brought it up pretty well of, you know, just acknowledging I won't live on a place where you own slaves. Like just like cannot happen, you know, and it's like setting the boundaries. And it's like, oh, I don't want to read, like, not that I don't want to I don't want to see something as horrible as that being undermined in this book, you know, because it is just like that is yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So
And
we
I
will
think it
have
might be.
to.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. It
Yeah.
might be. We'll have to see where they go with that one, but I am definitely concerned. And even just how he's going to act, because anytime where he feels safer, like for example, he didn't act a certain way towards her when he was at Lord Hampton's house for the wedding night because he didn't want anybody to hear or whatever. So, like, how is he going to act now that he has her all to himself?
Yeah. And I'm also like I'm curious as to like what is it gonna take what is she gonna do that's gonna make him
Right.
turn? Because like obviously like we have a taming of the male shrew here, and something is gonna happen where she tames him, and I'm like so curious as to like what is it gonna be? And another thing is that like I really like that she has anger in her too. Granted, she's only allowed to express it in a certain way. But like she like in a way like she is the flame and the flower, and this guy is just there for the ride. You
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
true though. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is, which I really like that because I feel like maybe that is what turns it around is the fact that she's not this innocent wallflower. She has a lot of fire in her and a little bit of a rebellious nature, which she was never safe to explore. And maybe that is what he's going to give her is that little bit of safety to explore that side of her in a way, because at the end of the day, what's the worst that he can do? I mean, he already did
Right.
about
Right.
as bad as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that that might be, which once she gets that confidence going and all of that comes out, and that's what takes it to the next level for him.
Totally. Yeah. I'm scared. I'm scared for this boat ride. I'm like preemptively nauseous for her.
Yes. Can you
Yeah.
imagine being stuck on a boat in those times with
Yeah.
whatever boats were like? They didn't have all the best everything, and being pregnant.
And with all surrounded by men who like in the conditions like even if she has like the
And
captain's
the type
room.
of men. And the
Yeah.
type of men, because let's face it, certain
I mean,
type of man was working that particular job. So
his crew members were like he part of the job description of his crew members were to find him prostitutes, and it's like okay, well, what kind of like people are gonna take this job? Like no one's like, oh, I only want to work the open seas. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
that is definitely going to be interesting. It will be an interesting ride. I kind of still am going to stick with my prediction that Henry comes back around in this book, and
He
maybe he comes to North Carolina. I don't know. Is it
Yeah.
North Carolina, or I don't know where they're going, but yeah.
Yeah, one of the Carolinas. Yeah, 'cause it
No,
does-
South
South.
Charleston.
Charleston.
Charleston, they're going, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like they do make it seem like it does that scene when he comes back, it does set up the kind of plot that she is going to have to make a choice and between him and Captain Birmingham. And that yeah, I mean I guess that's like pretty intriguing, and I'm just like how is she gonna reason Captain Birmingham over this guy? Like I don't know.
Well, in a way, though, I almost feel like this guy would also have like anger issues and violence because he's acted a little shady as well.
Oh, sure,
he
yeah.
keeps saying he's like so madly in love with her, but the moment that she says anything he doesn't like, it's on, with him. So like I guess there's more safety in the known.
Sure, because like you can tell that he's a bit of an asshole. Because isn't he not betrothed to another woman? But like he's like, there's another woman in
There's
town
another
that she's
woman,
like,
yeah.
oh, you should be with her. And like I'm kind of like, if you're stringing someone along, no way are you a stable person. Like you're a mess. That's just my own trauma coming into no, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, if that is where we're going with that, I think that could be interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. And at the same time, once he said that he was going to sell the boat and he wasn't going to come back, because I feel like for a second she thought like, oh, you come back every year, maybe I can come and see my family,
Hmm.
and this was going to be their last trip. So at the same time, I was like, girl, you don't need them. You don't need to see that family. You
Right.
don't need any of them. Like, forget they exist. Wherever you
Hmm.
land, figure out your cocoon, figure out your safety, your things. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying because she does have a horrible family, but I'm kind of like she should go where she wants to go. Clearly, she wants to stay. Like clearly,
Yeah.
like she like and that's like kind of like what makes this whole moment more stressful and scary is that like she is constantly getting the rug pulled out from underneath her again and
Hmm.
again for the rest of her of what the rest of her life is going to be. Like
Yeah.
she very casually finds out that she's going to have to go to another country. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I know. Another country, and basically in a situation where and also like I don't know what was necessarily the time period, because that would have been shortly after the
Hmm.
independence,
Right.
so like
Yeah.
what was the view that the British people had at the time of the
Well,
Americas and of the
yeah.
people. So like even just that probably was scary, because you're
Totally,
thinking that you're
totally.
going to this land of savages, and who knows what's going to happen to you as a British
Totally.
person too. So that would have been scary. Another layer of fear and trauma.
Absolutely. And actually, I will say for like the history nerds, there is like a little interesting tidbit of this guy, Birmingham is a Yankee. He, I believe, fought on, or his
Hmm.
father fought on the
His
side
father,
of,
and then him as a child also.
as a, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
so I think they do make one comment of like, but you're still coming to England. We all hate like like I feel like a lot of like the English people were very like resentful of like anyone coming from America. So there was like kind of like a stigma, like there
Hmm.
still is when we travel abroad. I mean, it's never gonna end. But this was a different, it was because of a different type of stigma because it's like
Right.
they broke away from us and now they're back. And then you
Yeah.
have kind of Birmingham kind of like this like capitalist being like, hey man, I speak the language of money, and he's like, I will trade
Yes.
with whoever. And I'm like, oh, that's like pretty interesting in showing that like great like our like people like evolved beyond like what we think are we should be patriotic about. Like it's like always about greed and it's always about money, and this guy is always gonna people are always gonna be after for themselves and stuff. And I'm like, this is I bet you that this is like more accurate to American history than maybe what we were taught in school.
I definitely felt that too. It's like
Hmm.
that whole scene of that whole conversation that he had totally checks.
Yeah,
Checks out.
yeah. It makes a lot of sense. And it's like, yeah, like it's like this weird. He almost sounded like Gordon Gekko from Wall Street for a second of
Yes.
just like money talks. Like it was just like this weird kind of like cocky, like
He
greed
was
is
very proud
good.
of that.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was
He was
very
like, and I
proud
was
of
just
that.
like, God, they even existed back then. Jesus Christ. These finance bros.
He literally was. I mean, he may have more in common with them than
Hmm.
there's multiple touch points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, other than that, there wasn't anything necessarily re-traumatizing, worse than like the first two chapters. No, I think
Right.
we are in safer territory, at least for now. And I imagine going forward as well,
Hmm.
because at some point he must start to come around and see that he can be nice to his wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still a little rough to read these two, but not as traumatizing for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't as traumatizing. It was like kind of like it felt like it was, when you like hurt yourself, like you're sore from after working out, and then like you do a movement that like makes you feel how sore you are. Like
You
that's what it
remember.
felt like. It was like, yeah, it was like
Oh, yeah.
it was like a memory of the trauma. And so, and it
Yes.
was like very pointed, and so it still felt very sensitive. I felt
Yeah.
sensitive for her.
Yeah.
But I'm really loving that we're loving Heather. Like I
Yeah.
do think that like she is a very engaging character. I love that she's kind of like written to the top of her intelligence, as naive as she may be. And I know that like obviously my podcast is called Too Stupid to Live, and it's based on care, and like that term I'm assuming probably originates from her character in this book. She's really not as dumb as,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
maybe the criticism says she is. She is
Yeah.
like, I think the art of, or being smart doesn't necessarily mean like actions. It's more of awareness, and she's
Mhm.
highly intelligent, and
She is.
yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. I agree. I think that that is probably one of the things that has surprised me the most so far.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
especially in these two chapters, is the fact that she does have really high emotional intelligence and awareness. And she is able to express it too,
Hmm.
because she is having some of those conversations as opposed to just repressing everything and holding everything inside, which
Hmm.
is something that we do see a lot, especially in historical romance heroines.
Hmm.
She is out here telling us, the things that she doesn't like and all of
Hmm.
that. So I like that. I really do. I really do like that. I think that definitely she is the reason why this book, between
That
Heather
must be
and
it.
the author's writing, because I do think that
Hmm.
the author's writing is able to hold us. Also, you know how we talked about the switching of the points of view?
Hmm.
I cannot tell you if that happened because I was so in the
Me
story
neither.
in these two chapters that I didn't notice it, if it did.
Yeah. Like there were times where I feel like there was like one time where I was like, he thought that da 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 da, and I'm like, wait, that's not Heather. And then, but then it went back to Heather, and I was like, okay, good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so I don't know if she did it less, but definitely, or we got used to it. I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, it's interesting because it feels like there's kind of like this, like, not like you know how like in current books, typically we'll see like this chapter is his perspective and this chapter is her
Hmm.
perspective. If it's being broken up in between chapters, you'll see a break, or it'll even
Right.
label whose perspective we're coming from. And I'm like, oh, this is just like you have to like this is like read and find out, and
Yeah.
you have to figure out the perspective like after.
Yeah.
And that's like what those books, I mean, I'm assuming that's what a lot of books were like before they were like, oh, well, what if we just, just like labeled
Organize
it,
this a
made it
little bit.
easier. Yeah. 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 Kind of like write it out. So
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that too. So I am excited for what's to come
me
and
too.
nervous. I am still
Yes.
nervous. I probably have, I was feeling more confident after
We
chapter
were.
2.
We were feeling very confident that it was going to get better, and I think that I am like right now. I am faced with the fact that it did not get better, and I'm dealing with that
Yeah. And
disappointment.
and by better, I don't mean as in I am not enjoying the book. Like
No, no, I mean by
I
him. Yeah.
I mean like the horrible things that are happening in the story because the book is like I'm in.
Yes. Oh,
I am
we're
fully in.
me too.
It's
I'm
a
invested.
better as in, you want better things to happen to
Yes.
our poor girl Heather.
I
But
know. Yeah,
but
but
yeah.
no, it's not. Things are not
I
better.
think we're just gonna strap in for that ride. It's gonna be quite bumpy before
Hmm.
it gets to any hopefully good
Yeah,
place.
the waves are going to be choppy
Yeah.
on this boat ride, metaphorically
Oh yeah.
and literally.
And
And yeah. Hmm.
literally there's gonna be some motion sickness for sure,
Yes.
both
Yes.
figuratively
Literally and
and
metaphorically. Yeah, or literally. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just we're gonna be feeling that too. I
Yeah.
feel so. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I'm excited. I'm
Me
excited to
too.
continue on.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. It has me. I'm in. I am in. Thank you so much for checking out this bonus episode of TSTL. Thank you to the Under the Covers book blog for letting me share this track with you, the TSTL listeners. I hope all of you have a justifiably redeemable rest of your day.